You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots. You know the actions you can take at your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content, God help me. I just, that's all I can say.
What happened to that music? Welcome back.
Yeah, they're here again. It's unbelievable. They are here. I would say back by popular demand, but that would not be true. And I only tell you true statements here on Ron Siegel Radio. Ratings are too high. Blake Vartanian and Jim Norton are in the house. Realty Pro 100. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Ron.
Glad to have you with us.
That was a great introduction.
Yeah, it is. It's
very warm.
Very warm.
It is what it is.
And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we are celebrating today. And we are very fortunate that we've got Jim Norton in the house with us because he might be the only one that I know of that can recite the National Periodic Table backwards and forwards. It's National Periodic Table Day. Yeah, I was laughing.
Wow, that was a setup.
I think I might have hit the wrong button here, Jim. Sorry.
I will. You be nasty like that. I'll call my daughter.
Okay.
I'll have her in my ear, and she can recite.
Okay, well, somebody can. I sure can't.
You know.
I can't even. Josh and I were talking before the broadcast today. We can't even say periodic table.
What is it?
No less.
Is that like from the
science and all that?
is that the table that shows? Is that where you have dinner or something?
No, that's progressive.
Progressive dinner. Oh,
you're close.
Progressive periodic table.
There you go.
Progressive table.
National Send a Card to a Friend Day. Okay, I guess I have no cards to be sent out. That narrows that one down. I'll get back to those of you that missed that joke in a minute. And for those of you that have beaten anorexia, as I have, today's National Fettuccine Alfredo Day.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, were you getting fettuccine Alfredo? Can we throw a little, maybe some shrimp on top of that? What do you think?
Yes.
Little shrimp, grilled shrimp.
Where are we going for lunch?
Yeah, that sounds like the idea to me.
At least you said grilled and not breaded.
I've got to watch my waistline.
Yeah.
And I watch it.
Ron and I are trying to thin down.
I was worried about you for a second.
It grows and grows. And, that's the waistline that I'm watching, right? I mean, and yes, my wife will be upset with me when I say that again today. But that, something, I'm married. I'm used to being in trouble. Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 60 points. S&P 500 is up 4.95. NASDAQ is up 47. Oil up 275 a barrel. Is anybody planning? What is the options tonight? Are we going to watch Netflix or are we going to watch the State of the Union? I guess they're both equally comedic. Yeah, so so I think I'm going to have that ready for me when I watch the State of the Union today. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit of a interesting scenario. Looks like we may start getting folks realizing that the numbers that came out Friday were all a hoax. Seeing the S&P 500 is up, the NASDAQ is up. Dow Jones, they're a little bit more stubborn, but we did dispel the myth of a good jobs report. If you missed that yesterday, I got some commentary on that. Got some phone calls yesterday from folks that I don't usually hear from, but it was fascinating that we did get some calls from people saying, you know something? Only in America can you take 2.5 million jobs lost and call it a 517,000 gain. Yeah, only in America can you take an 894,000 jobs gain and, or 89,000 jobs and add 810,000 to make it look, the numbers look good. That's a great country, isn't it? It's just amazing watching some of these things. So we do ask, and we appreciate the fact that you are tuning in to Ron Siegel Radio and watching what we're sharing with you, listening to what we share with you on the radio broadcast, so that, regardless of what you hear in the media, you're getting the information straight, and we get rid of all the BS. So let's get rid of some more BS, because there are a lot of folks that are talking about the idea that the housing market is on the collision course for a crash. But let's grab numbers. Now, you're not going to see these numbers in the media. They're going to give us Case-Shiller, which is probably going to be November's data, or they'll give us FHFA, which comes out of the government. That's old stuff. These numbers came out yesterday. Now, one of our paid service providers that we do use, we get data every Monday, and they track every home for sale in the entire country. Every home for sale in the entire country. And Josh has the charts. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you're going to see charts that very few people ever look at because they don't want to pay for them. Total inventory homes for sale. Inventory declined by almost 2%. So we've got 456,990 homes for sale, single-family residents across the entire United States. Think about that. 360 million people in this country, 170 million households in this country, and we've got 456,990 homes for sale. That is down 2% from last week. There are only 52,000 new listings last week. Again, 170 million homes across the country, only 52,000 new listings last week. And where last year we were getting a lot of new listings going right in for immediate activity, immediate sale, 11,000. So think about that. Of the 52,000 new listings, that's about 22% of those were immediately sold. Does that sound like a market that's crashing to you anytime soon? I don't think so.
You know better than that.
Total single-family homes pending contract with new contracts per week. 279,000 single-family homes in contract. So think about that. When they talk about how many homes are available for sale, well, 279,000 of them are already in contract, so they're not available for sale anymore. This is 26% fewer than last week. These are all numbers that came out yesterday. Median home list prices. Again, this is a national number. You want your city? You want your zip code? rsrlistana.com. Yes, I know you don't live in Anaheim, many of you. But if you go to there, rsrlistana.com, you can actually get the data. It'll send you initially the data for Anaheim, but then put in your zip code, and you can get any zip code in the United States. Median home list prices, U.S. single family, $415,000. New listings came on the market at $380,000. Again, national number. And here's the biggie. This is the properties with price reductions. Now, we watch this all the time. The normal price reductions within the country is 33% of the properties take a price reduction before they're sold. 33%. Yes, I know North Orange County, you guys are a little bit slow, so you guys take more price reductions than the rest of the market. I guess for some reason, maybe you think your houses are worth more than they really are. And the reason I know that you think the houses are worth more than they really are is because you put them up for sale, nobody buys them. So you're the only one that thinks they're worth that. Otherwise, somebody would have bought it. So price reductions is on a very, very steep decline. What is that telling us? Well, when the price reductions, the number of price reductions on the properties that are on the market right now is declining, well, as we clear out some of the old listings, there's no need to take a price reduction any longer. So where we were at in the low 40% range, now we're at 33% of the properties taking a price reduction before they sell. Think about some of these numbers. How do they impact you? The bottom line here, and the reason I'm going to go through all those numbers for you, is we hear a lot in the media that we're due for another big drop. I get it every day. I get something. The guy that predicted the 2008 meltdown has another prediction. Gotta love it, right? Well, look at the data. What is the data telling you? Now, are there certain areas that may have a price reductions or have declining values? Of course, there are certain areas. I looked at one area yesterday. It went from $814 a square foot 2 weeks ago. Last week it was $815. This week it's $769. There's only 12 homes for sale. So is that data really valuable? I question it. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. I just gave you national numbers. We're going to talk locally with Blake Vartanian and Jim Norton when we come back. How experts can help you close the gap in today's home ownership rate, all that more. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numero 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a minute.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. I don't know about you, Joe. Beefcake in that office. I've been referred to by a lot of things in my past. Maybe he's referring to you guys as Beefcake. I don't know. I'm just Joe, one of our.
We used to be in the cast of Magic Mike, Blake and I.
The cast of Magic Mike.
Yeah, we were in that.
I don't even want to go there with you because anything I say can and will be held against me for the rest of my life. Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs, the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. S&P 500 up 4.98, not moving a whole lot. Every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming rate. Ooh, it was up a good chunk yesterday, 6.229. Jumbos down a good chunk yesterday, 6.155. FHA, it's like a yo-yo here. That was up yesterday, 6.146. USDA, that was up yesterday at 6.103, and the best loan on the market for those that earned it, but the pricing went up, 6.146. I'm sorry, 5.896. That is the 30-year VA loan. And I am going to tell you, if you didn't go and get your loans done already, sorry about that. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, their loan level price adjustments are going to take effect. And guess what? It's going to add about 1/8% to interest rates. You got to love the federal government when they keep doing these things to us, don't you? But we are watching all these different numbers for you. The 10-year Treasury is up 1 basis point, 3.649 right now. The mortgage-backed securities are down just a little bit, down 6 basis points on the bond. And we're battling. And what do I mean by battling? Well, in the light of real serious news in the marketplace, what is the bond market move based on? It's called technical analysis. And I'm not going to get into the weeds on technical analysis I understand it. If you want to chat about it, give me a call at 800-306-1990. But we're right there on the verge of breakouts of rates going up again. So we're hoping that we can get some resistance on there. And we're hoping that maybe we can get the Federal Reserve Chairman to maybe just be consistent, right? The markets think they understand what he's up to, but the lack of consistency is where the problem is. And we heard from Fed Presidents Daly, Bostic, and Kashkari. They're all looking for more rate hikes. They did not listen to Ron Siegel Radio yesterday, so they don't realize that we're not really adding any jobs in this marketplace. Since the release of the January jobs report, several central banks have started to talk tougher, including the Bank of England, European Central Bank, and now the Reserve Bank of Australia. Does anybody listen to them? The Reserve Bank of Australia hiked rates 25 basis points as expected, but they were forecasted to indicate a pause, but they signaled that they were going to continue hiking. So we're going to continue watching that and holding some of these agencies accountable for the misinformation that they're spreading out there. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that new home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. Joe Ingram, you got to love it. You guys now have something new from Joe. So Joe's one of our, I don't know if you remember, Joe comes in here and goes on the radio program, and he is one of the big hecklers out there.
Nice.
So
Is he heckling us?
he says, I don't know, something about you guys being Chippendales. I don't know about this. So
at this stage of life, I'll take either.
Okay.
Wow.
it's like
I'll
a
take
chip.
it.
It's like a Chippendale show for his ears.
Oh.
I don't know about your ears, Joe. So we're not going to even go there at all. So
Is that the Chippendales, or is he calling us Chip and Dale?
could be either one.
It could be
Could
either
be
one.
either one.
You know.
So I don't even know where to start. We threw out there some ideas about the national ideas on what's going on in real estate, and I'm a big believer that you can go in with all this national stuff, but it doesn't tell you anything until you get really granular, get really local. So
I think you got to go back to your basics, Ron, and that's keep it simple. And simple isn't the national headlines.
Okay.
It's simple as what's going on in your neighborhood, your backyard, and what is your intention. If your intention is to sell your house and move out of California, there are some pretty good bargains, and you're going to do well on selling your house. If you're looking to sell your house and move up, there's a program for that, but it's all neighborhood by neighborhood. I mean, people get distracted by the news and the headline.
Why do you want to move up?
It's a great time to move up.
Why?
Because you might be in a 3-bedroom and you need a 5-bedroom.
Okay. So you got to. So my
not just. I'm not saying like do you want to move from Orange to Newport Beach because you want to be on the water or something. No, I'm just simply saying for the use of your family, that let's say you're in a smaller 1,300 square foot 3-bedroom and there's a 2,200 square foot 4-bedroom. You want that room to grow. It's a great time to do it. Everybody thinks that it's the real estate market's collapsed. It's like, no, it's softened, of course. That's a given. But at the same time, it just means there's less people in the way. There's not 17 offers. You're not kicking.
We can wait till the end of the year and there will be. Most likely.
Maybe. We'll see. I mean, I haven't figured out. I mean, it's like the stock market. Everybody keeps complaining about the stock market. All I see is 33,000, 32,000, 34,000. I mean, it's staying right in a range, but they make news out of it every day.
Kind of feels like 7 or 8 hours of TV time on the cable channels.
Yeah, I mean,
nice. You got to find some news. So let's talk local, because we are sitting in the beautiful city of Orange, California right now. So median list price $998,900. New listings are actually coming on the market at $999. Pretty close, right?
Yep.
Price per square foot $567 a square foot. Pretty flat there. Average days on the market is 68. Price decreases 36%. So Orange is obviously much smarter than Anaheim. Relisted are 5%. Okay. And now here's one that seems like an anomaly to me. Now, $999 is the list price. Median rent for the city of Orange, single family residence, $39.95.
It's up.
It's up.
I got a whiff of it the other day. Talking to some investors, and they actually had some people that moved out. They obviously were going somewhere where they had something to do. I know a lot of the renters I've ever talked to, they don't want to make a move right now because they're worried they won't be able to make a move to something. It's not like they're going to be able to move down, I mean, in terms of amount of money, but things are still pushing up. There's pressure on the up because there are very few rentals. And in LA,
why would you want to be a landlord in LA?
You don't want to be a landlord in LA. So landlords are looking to get out of LA. So that's putting pressure on other areas.
They're going to put pressure on pricing in Los Angeles?
Yeah. Well, it's going to put downward pressure on it.
That's what I would think.
I mean, yeah, but it's going to put upward pressure. It's going to put upward pressure on the surrounding counties because those investors are going to want to get out of there and move over to I mean, that's all that's accomplishing. It's not saving anybody a lot of money on the rents. What would really help the rents is if you would let the landlords let it float and let them build, and they just barely let.
You're a builder, or were. So would you want to build in Los Angeles County?
Oh, I wouldn't touch it. I wouldn't even go in there today. For a rental perspective, maybe.
I understand this, but why? Let's for the audience sake. Why?
Rent control. Number one reason, rent control. You're going to, you've got to go through the hoops. You got to figure out what the formula is. So you got to balance it. I'm not sure if you could build something today and at a profit with that under that program.
And the other side of it obviously becomes that if somebody doesn't want to pay you, you can't get rid of them.
Well, there you go. Like somebody said the other day, there's people that are about a year out and they haven't paid rent. So what are they doing with the money? If they're saving, I don't think it's.
Our savings rate is way down, so we know they're not saving.
Yeah. So let's say, I don't know what the average rent in LA is across the board, but you got to figure it's around 3,000 probably, because there's a high and a low. But at the same time, if they're not paying rent, and I don't know how the landlord's affording the building, I really don't understand why would anybody want to build. But there are some people, there are projects going on in LA. There are. But
now let me ask you this other part of it, because before when you were chatting, and the reason I asked you why would somebody want to move up, and it's because of a catalyst, right? They got married, they have more kids, they've got to bring grandma and grandpa into the house, an extended family house. Those are all catalysts. I don't think anybody really wants to go from a 4-bedroom to a 4-bedroom and a 3% mortgage to a 6% mortgage just for fun.
Well, they don't get up in the morning and say, "Wow, what a good idea! Let's do this."
Right.
And my local realtor needs a commission or something.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that says that either. But if you want to send it,
there's always a catalyst behind something. As Blake, I think, what was the number for the amount of people with zero debt, and the amount of real estate value in Orange County was zero debt?
Well, just in the 8 cities around our office, the last time we surveyed it, there was over $420 billion worth of equity sitting in real estate.
So those people are sitting, they're not, if it fluctuates 5%, 10%, and they're looking to maybe get a retirement home or to a retirement community. Let's say they're going to move to Sun City, Arizona. I don't know what the price is or anything, but they're going to do very well selling their property in California, and they're going to have a lot of cash available to buy something in a more moderate priced area. So they have a motivation. That's a catalyst, like you said.
Sure.
And then, of course, as you said, families moving in. There's still some tech industries, and some industries are hiring. There's still a lot of job creation going on here in California.
Well,
it's not just move where you want and be on a computer. There are people.
So people are having to go back to work.
Right.
Speaking of going back to work, if I don't go and let some of our sponsors have some opportunity to chat with us, I'll be looking for new work. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, how experts can help close the gap in today's home ownership rate. We'll chat with the guys about that one and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule your appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Great tool to find out exactly what's available in the marketplace. Go in there, log in, register. It's free. No solicitations, no obligations, no commitments of any sort. But it will tell you about 97% of the marketplace, what homes are available for sale. About 97% of the U.S. is covered there. Continental U.S. is what we've got right there. So how experts can help close the gap in today's home ownership rate. As we celebrate Black History Month, we reflect on the past and present experiences of Black Americans. This includes the path toward investing in a home of their own. And while equitable access to housing has come a long way, homeownership can be a steeper climb for households of color. It's an important experience to talk about, along with how it can make all the differences for diverse home buyers to work with the right real estate experts. We know it's more challenging for some to buy a home because there's still a measurable gap between the overall average U.S. homeownership rate and that of non-white groups. Today, the lowest homeownership rate persists in the Black community. And again, we've got a chart right here to show you that if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed. Homeownership is an essential piece of building household wealth that can be passed down to future generations. However, there are obstacles in home buying process that can negatively impact certain groups. This can delay or prevent many from achieving home ownership, challenging their ability to benefit from everything owning a home offers. A recent report from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, explains not all households have the same opportunities to home ownership, with many of them facing more constraints in their effort to achieve the American dream. Given that home ownership contributes to wealth accumulation and the home ownership rate is lower in minority groups, data shows that the net worth for these groups is also lower, unquote. However, with the right support and resources, there are also solutions if you're part of this community and planning to buy a home. Jacob Channel, senior economist at Lending Tree, shares, quote, "The problem does exist. We have data to back that up, but there are solutions, and Black home buyers shouldn't lose faith that they'll never be able to become homeowners," unquote. That's why it's so important for members of diverse groups to have the right team of experts on their side throughout the home buying process. These professionals aren't only experienced advisors who understand the local market and give the best advice. They're also compassionate allies who will advocate for the best interests every step of the way. Bottom line, access to housing improves every day, but there are still equity challenges that some buyers face. Give me a call at 800-306-1990. Let's chat about a very, very simple one. How about no down payment down to a FICO score of 600? Think about that concept. Now, there's all sorts of options out there. Now, I love seeing some of these reports that come out because one of the big issues is segregation or not helping somebody based on the color of their skin is against the law.
Has been.
And it has been.
Time. It's my whole career.
And if you're experiencing some sort of racism in that area, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'd love to help advocate and make sure that we put that behind us because there's no place for that kind. I'm not a big fan of giving everything to everybody, but everybody is given an equal right, an equal playing field, an opportunity all the way through the entire system, or should be. And I know because I've got relatives that are Black, that it's not the way it is yet. We've got a long way to go. but we need to all work on it. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. We're continuing our conversation, chatting with Blake Vartanian and Jim Norton, both from Realty Pro 100. And if you're fortunate enough, and I know you are not, if you are fortunate enough to be in here with us during the commercials, sometimes we have some interesting chats, and Blake came up with a very sound concept of one of his metrics. Now, Blake's been doing this so I think he was involved in the Louisiana Purchase, so it does go back a day or two.
Yeah, I showed property to Napoleon Bonaparte myself in 1803.
So
He got a good commission on that deal.
Yeah, he goes way
He
back.
was so impressed with my ability. He went out and that was his Waterloo.
There we go. So now we don't want to get too much into history here, but when you've been doing this a long time, you have metrics that you use that are really not the normal metrics. They're not things that anybody ever talks about, but they're called boots on the ground. They're hard knock metrics. So explain that one that you were talking about during the break, Blake.
Well, open house activity is oftentimes the precursor for new sales, new listings that could
houses sell at open houses?
Yes, they do actually.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you can write the offer right there on the counter if the people are, ready, and even if they're with their own agent, and they want to make an offer, I encourage them to make an offer. But I think because the year started off with so much precipitation and weekends ruined.
I should have said rain. The periodic table.
I should have said rain.
Jim, I was putting you on.
Is that too many syllables?
Is he back to that table thing again? Are we having lunch?
Well, I want to be a weather person deep down inside. But the forecast method is, when open house activity is slow just before the spring market, it has tended to lead to a very slow spring market. And so I would say, like the spring of 2019, I knew in January and February that the spring market was in trouble because of what was being reported to us through the agents who were holding the open houses.
Okay.
And so this past weekend, I had reports from multiple people in different geographic areas about the unbelievable surge they had in open house activity, where they were expecting maybe 15 or 20 groups, and they were getting 30 and 40 groups through on a Saturday and or a Sunday. And so I also, there's a house in my own neighborhood that listed with a competitor, which is fine. People make their choices.
They're allowed to make a mistake.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, hey, I respect the fact that they used our, they came to me, asked me for the contractors, used our, got their discounts and did what they wanted to do. And we thought they were just fixing up their house because it needed it. And so we just had casual conversation around that. Next thing they're reporting to the neighbors, but not to us, that they're moving to Nashville, Tennessee. And so, I respect their choice, and I want to remain neighborly because it's important to have a good, I love the concept of a neighborhood. That's why I live in the suburbs.
Sure.
If I didn't, I'd live somewhere, where I had 10 acres.
Yeah,
or somewhere like that. So in looking at the open house activity, the parking was unbelievably compromised in our neighborhood, where there's usually ample parking, and people were even parking across, the front of our driveway.
They weren't watching the Pro Bowl, though.
No, I know flag football is really exciting. Maybe when you're in 7th or 8th grade, you're interested in flag football, but I don't know. If somebody watched it, I hope you enjoyed it, but it wasn't my thing. I couldn't watch it.
I don't know. I don't think anybody watched that. And I think the only thing that was less exciting than the football game was probably the Grammys, because they've got their lowest viewing ever. So
yeah.
Oh, that's a different story.
Yeah.
So that's a great concept, Blake. So you can actually get a idea of activity and interest and motivations, right? Because of with how many people are showing up to these open houses.
Well, when you see cars lined up and down the street to purchase a $1.1 million house in a standard tract neighborhood in Yorba Linda, the home that probably originally sold for $41,000 or $42,000 back when it was first built.
We're going back to the Louisiana Purchase.
No, but I'm just saying is, when you think about what you're buying. So, I oftentimes I've said this before on the show, I like to say we just sold another $350,000 house. Unfortunately, the client had to pay $1.2 million to get it, because anywhere else in the country that house would have sold for $350,000 or $400,000. But because of the Southern California premium, that's what we end up having to pay.
So what I want to find out from you though, Blake, is do you know what the list price of that property is?
$1,099,000.
$1,099,000. Okay,
Mhm.
so when we look, and the reason I'm asking the question is because it's not like it's something that's
it's not a giveaway. It's actually priced at the high end of the range for the neighborhood.
So median home prices for Yorba Linda is $1,067,000.
Mhm.
And if you look at it, the new listings are $1,499,000. So, it's not at the high end, but it's also, and Yorba Linda's got a very good, Yorba Linda's in what they call a strong seller's market based on a lot of different analytics. So it's it's one of the strong ones right there. So again, it's not something that's outrageous.
Well, and all of the high schools in Placentia, Yorba Linda enjoy a good reputation, right? There was a time when, as a graduate of Valencia, maybe we didn't, but Valencia has become. It's interesting, how academically the school has advanced from when. A guy like me could be a high honor student. And I thought, wow, if I'm getting that high honor, what are the other kids doing?
You got to wonder. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, more with Jim and Blake, more with the real estate market. How are the open houses going in your neighborhood? If you're thinking about buying or selling, that might give you an idea. If you go and take a look, just do a little drive-by. I know you might have something to do Sunday, but do a little drive-by. You probably can't tell by the parking on Sunday. It might be skewed a little bit this week. But we'll take a look at it. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. We are continuing our conversation. We've got Blake Vartanian and Jim Norton in the house, Realty Pro 100, chatting about real estate, chatting about, I love the idea of thinking about these catalysts. And I think that's the reason, and we'll throw this off to the guys and get their take on it as well, is, interest rates have doubled since last year. Okay, we understand that. They're coming back down. I told you May 10th, we'll start seeing when they'll really start dropping dramatically. So that circle on your calendar. And as I've shared with you before, just like every person in radio or in TV, I've got it circled on the calendar. I noted when we said this the very first time. And on May 10th, if we see the numbers start dropping, I will be playing that. Josh will cut the clip out. If we don't, I'll bring Jim back in and we'll start talking about something different. It's just the way it works in the media. But the bottom line is there's ways that there's creative ways. And, our thesis today, or our headline today, is how experts can help close the gap at today's home ownership rate. And part of that has to do with assembling a team. And the team, and Blake kind of alluded to it in the last segment when, just at the asking, he was able to hand a homeowner, a plumber and a drywaller or a painter or a gardener or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a professional understands. If you're talking to somebody who just does this part-time, spare time, and they're really just trying to cut out a commission and not really know what they're doing, you're not going to get that education. And your neighbors generally, unless you're neighbors with Blake, they generally don't know these things, right? So I was with at a real estate office yesterday, and just by putting minds together, we were able to come up with a solution. And Blake or Jim, you guys, either one of you can take this. What's the value? We were able to put together a solution that this family could go and get a house that they needed just because they needed something bigger. And they were able to make a non-contingent offer versus a contingent offer.
Mm-hmm.
Which is stronger?
Non-contingent.
Okay, explain.
Well, a contingent means that you have outside influence occurring in the process.
Something else has to happen.
Mostly, let's cut to the chase of in real estate. A contingent offer is contingent on you selling your house so that you generate the money to buy the next property. The problem is that if you don't have yours under contract, it's an open-ended contingency. Seller's going to go, well, I'm not going to take it off the market. They're going to leave it up on the market, and they're going to go that way. But non-contingent means that you've got the cash, you're ready to do it down, you're ready to set up your financing. If you've done where you're going with the team concept, because that's my biggest mantra, is to get people together and then start talking to the different professionals to assist them. And first, you always have to have, as a buyer, you always have to have your financing lined up. It's amazing to me how many people are on Zillow looking at houses, but they don't have a clue on what they've got to spend and what they need to do to get that. You and I had a deal where we were talking about this in Placentia. They had an Anaheim condo. They thought they needed to sell it in order to do it. We came up with a scenario where they could keep it as a rental and buy the other, finance the new house, and it would all work out. Plus, they picked up more valuation of real estate,
bigger portfolio
in their portfolio. And I think they looked at us and went, it was just too much to understand. How could it be so simple? How could that be not true? And it's like, that's fine. But people's perceptions are, you have to show them how that works. But it can be done. It can be done. It can be done.
It's amazing what happens when you put together a good team of people who are, I hate to use the word experts, because what ends up happening whenever you say somebody's an expert, the next person wants to shoot them down.
Right. No.
Right. So people that are experienced,
you have experience
knows
in doing that. Right. And you know what the numbers are doing, and you're checking all the boxes. You're making sure that there's no hidden surprises. Let's just call it that. But it can be done so easily. I don't know. I don't understand why people are not pulling the equity on their house and then buying another house and keeping that as a rental. It's like, just sit down for a minute and you can sketch out how to do that.
And there's other, in addition to the loan program that I just mentioned, that, it's basically a down payment assistance that, lets you buy with no money down. Now, even if you're over 55, you can pull your money out of your property using a reverse mortgage, a second mortgage. So that's a new one, a second mortgage reverse. So keep that 3% first or 2.5% first that you have, and take money out. And as long as you keep that as your primary residence, call Jim and buy another rental property.
Exactly. And then that's I think you always talk about your household interest rate. That's what you're talking about right there, because you're blending that 3% with a 6%. What is the blend going to come out to be?
Sure.
But on the same side of that argument, what do you gain? You gain a better house that fits your needs more. You gain a rental, and you've increased your net worth because of the fact that you now have two properties in California. First of all,
so let's talk about that, Jim. The property, just using for example the numbers that you and I worked on a couple months ago. I guess it was last year.
It was
So,
last year.
What was the value, just roughly, of the departing property?
Of the buyer,
Right.
Their value, I think, was 750. It was around 750.
Okay, so let's just say 750. And what was the value of the acquisition property?
890.
890. I'm going to say 850 just because then the math is easy.
Okay. That's fine.
Right. So that's is that 1.6 million? Is that right? I think that's right. At 1.6 million. Now let's just look at this and say in Orange County, California, 63-year average, 5.37% appreciation, 10-year average, 6.52, 5-year average, 7.33. And the 1-year forecast is 4.16. And the 5-year forecast is about 6% over each year for the next 5 years. So can we just call that 5%?
Yep.
Is that $80,000 a year in appreciation?
Yes.
Right? $80,000 a year in appreciation. And how much are you putting into your 401k and your IRA? Probably not $80,000 a year. And it's probably not compounding.
You do, and this is why I think people get hung up on this, is that it just doesn't stop there. You still have to have a plan down the road. I mean, if you're young, you're going to have that growth for 10, 20 years. So it's going to build up. But what are you going to do? How are you going to do that on the road? Because we have that always at the end of the road is that thing called capital gains.
Not really.
Well, that's why I'm saying if you have a plan, it's not
that too.
If you have a plan, you can deal with that.
We can talk to our friend.
That's a whole other show.
To Ron and Todd?
Right. I think my friend Todd Halterman.
And Todd Halterman, there's a great. I mean, he does a great show.
I think he's here on Wednesday. He'll be on the program Wednesday or Thursday this week.
We should do is bring Todd in on one of these conversations one time because it'll show you the whole map of where you can go. Because people say like, okay, well, do I sell this? And then my brother-in-law said I have to pay taxes on all that, and I really don't get the income. Or if I pay off the house and I'm getting cash flow completely, all that equity's sitting there, just doing nothing.
Keep taking the equity out every 5 years. If you pull all your equity out, leave 25% behind, but pull all your equity out every 5 years and reinvest it. Now, when you pull equity out of a property that you continue to own, I'm not a tax person. I am not giving tax advice. Alton Moore was here last week. He gives tax advice. And he would probably tell you, and I'm not going to put words in his mouth, that there's no taxable event when you borrow money against property. So pull the money out and buy more property.
Buy more property.
Right? I mean, every time you sell, think about this. If I own Apple stock today, in order for me to access that money, I know I can go on margin and there's loans against it. For the most part, I've got to sell it in order to access the money.
Right.
When I sell it, that's a taxable event.
It's taxable event.
I found that most people in their first conversation around this, they see it as very complicated. It's not that it's complicated, it's that it's complex. So you have to follow the steps. And when you have the professionals around you who can guide you through the process, it's very easy to obtain additional wealth through real estate because of the historical nature of the way real estate performs. So you can go back into specific periods in time and say, well, there's this time over here where it didn't. But the neat thing about the numbers you're using is that you're averaging the real numbers over a period of time, which cannot be disputed.
Right. It's a long period of time. And the other thing that we didn't even talk about is we talked about $80,000 in appreciation. Not guaranteed. I'm not saying it's going to happen perfectly. There'll be years that maybe it's more, maybe it's less, who knows. But I'm talking about long periods of time, and we didn't even talk about leverage. And if you want more information on this, just stay tuned. I'm going to actually even be doing some wealth workshops. We've got that on our calendar for this year. Every quarter, we're going to be doing some wealth workshops. We'll be inviting a lot of folks to come to these things. I'm actually working right now on putting together a senior symposium. So we're going to talk about how do you get more out of your Social Security? When's the right time to start taking Social Security? Blake and Jim are already on there, but that's a whole different story. But
I'm deferring it.
What is deferred Social Security? Exactly. We're going to talk about all that with experts. So we're going to have that workshops coming up as well. So make sure you stay tuned to Ron Siegel Radio. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.